It's an off day for the Toronto Raptors, coming off of a big win against the 76ers. I'm Savanna Hamilton. That's Akil Augustine. You're watching Raptors Today. Akil, we have some pretty cool content happening.
Yeah, actually, shouts out to Savanna, who's kind of taking the torch and perused the courts over at Cox Pavilion. Thomas and Mack and scored a big interview, none other than one of the biggest newsbreakers in all sports, Shams. You got Shams. What were you guys talking about?
Yo, we were talking about literally everything under the sun, but I think right now we're going to focus on what we talked about in terms of wings and presence and the way that the Raptors organization, how they've changed the game, arguably. So let's take a listen to what he said. Shams, thank you for joining us here on Raptors Today, of course. Listen, I want to talk about a few things that have happened. A lot of transactions with the Raptors. Otto Porter Jr., first and foremost, champion recently with the Golden State Warriors. What value does he bring to the Raptors organization?
Well, what you saw with him in the NBA Finals, he played a role. He could play the 4, the 5, especially in today's NBA, needing that stretch big, and a guy that he's been through plenty of playoff moments in Washington and then most recently in Golden State to win a championship, come to Toronto for probably a bigger role, bigger salary. The Warriors were kind of limited in what they could offer him, but Toronto presents a challenge now for him to kind of bring that championship pedigree that he had to this younger nucleus and roster.
Yeah, and then you have to also talk about, Chris Boucher and Thad Young, because they also add value to the Raptors. They re-signed with the Raptors there. Just tell me how that speaks to the Raptors organization as a whole, that they're able to not just sign new players, but retain their current talent as well.
Well, there's a lot of conversation in the last couple of years, right? What is Masai Ujiri going to do? They win a championship in 2019, but I think what we've seen is it's kind of replenishing the guys that you have and really just continue to invest in them and their growth. Fred VanVleet, we've seen him emerge as an all-star. Pascal Siakam has kind of regained that all-star form. He's been healthy. Scotty Barnes gets Rookie of the Year. But then when you make moves, you get Thad Young in a trade, then you bring him back. I think continuing to build that continuity and the chemistry that's going to be needed if this team is going to take the step to be another finals team.
Well, I'm so happy you brought up Scotty Barnes, because that's obviously one of Toronto's favorite players in the city. Scotty, he's brought a lot of value. What have you seen from him, this time last year from Summer League, add and develop to his game throughout the course of the season this past year?
I think the question when he came in the league was, could he score the basketball, and how efficient would he be, and how could he get to his spots? But we see kind of just that love of the game that he has. It's infectious, and when I got to know him a little bit in his pre-draft process, I could tell just how much he enjoyed playing the game. Forget the skill work, but he really wanted to get after it. And I think that's a trait that any player, Masai Ujiri, will value. And we're seeing he's talented as hell as well. So I think that'll all help him in the long term. And when you think about roster construction, Scotty Barnes is the guy that you want to build with for the next 10 to 15 years.
Oh, absolutely. I could get behind that. Christian Koloko now, he's the Raptors draft pick this year. Has some stretches to go in terms of development. Maybe didn't come in as NBA ready as Scotty Barnes did, but he's still 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan. What did you make of that Raptors pick?
Well, I think it's classic in terms of finding a guy that probably has first-round talent, because he can play in the league for probably a decade just off of his rebounding. He's long, he's athletic, he can block shots. I thought in his performance in March Madness that really allowed him to solidify declaring for the draft, entering the league, being a second-round pick, and now he's going to have an opportunity to learn and develop from a group that has already been there in some fashion, but they're going to involve him and build with him for years to come as well.
And then finally, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, they're doing a thing or two. They're having a lineup that's very classic, 6'8", 6'9", and taller. Do you think that this is going to set a trend for the rest of the NBA to follow, especially on the wings?
Well, I think we saw that trend develop with them in 2019 when they won in the finals. And Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol would split time at the 5, but they play a lot of Pascal and Kawhi at 4 and 3. So this, as the NBA is continuing to go smaller, you're seeing a lot of 6'8", 6'9" guys play that center position. So the Raptors, if anything, they're adjusting, but they're definitely setting trends, because Scotty, Pascal, OG, those are all guys that you can have start from 3 to 5 on any night.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
You guys having me.
Hey, shout out NBA TV Canada.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Well, you just heard Shams talk about the presence on the wings in the Toronto Raptors organization. What did you make of it?
Well, it's a copycat league, right?
Yeah.
If something works and it's successful, you're going to do it. You remember when the 3-and-D or the corner 3 became a trend, and now it's a staple. So things that are trends at points, or just something that's part of an identity of one organization, can become a staple in the league. And I think if you look at how it's working out for the Toronto Raptors, it makes sense to have players who can be interchangeable at all moments. And you'll see a lot more of that, I believe, in this league.
Yeah, actually, Eric Corey, assistant coach right here for the Toronto Raptors in Summer League, he actually mentioned it as well, so let's take a listen.
Savannah was talking to Shams, getting some feedback, and people are talking about, we all talk with the Raptors about this interchangeable basketball, 6'9", 6'8". Do you see that as a rippling out here at the Summer League, or how teams are kind of responding to how your roster and lineup looks?
It's a good question. I mean, our Summer League roster looks like that at times, too. We were starting a really big lineup with DJ and Christian Coloco at the bigs. But, teams are just getting bigger and bigger. I think they realize that when teams really get to switching in the playoffs, it's good to have size out there and people who can guard multiple positions, and you're seeing more and more of that around the league.
You guys had an interesting start, but you got the result you wanted. What was the feedback to the group overall after the performance yesterday?
We finished the game really well. We had some spurts where they were able to get out and run against us, so that was our primary focus. That when we play our defense in the half court, we're pretty tough to score in, so teams are going to try and get out and run against us. So as long as we take care of the ball and get back on defense, we're going to be pretty solid defensively.
Yep, it's always defense first with the Raptors. Talking about the development of the young guys, though, we got a little bit more footage on some of these guys. What were the big takeaways for you for Coloco and Ron Harper?
I thought Christian started the game really well defensively, actually the entire game. He does such a great job playing two defensively, so the paint looks really walled off. There's nowhere for the other team to attack. They try and throw a lob over the top, he's able to deflect it away. They try and attack him at the rim, he's able to block the shot, so that was really impressive. And then Ron did a good job as the game kept going. He figured out his spots, where to attack, how to get into the paint. And then he also had some pretty tough matchups, so he did a good job getting physical with the opposing team and really playing Raptor-style defense.
What do you say to those two young guys, knowing that you've seen kind of this whole experience before? You've had guys have really successful summer leagues, and even if they didn't, kind of figure it out throughout like their tenure with the Raptors. So what was the messaging?
Well, they know that these 2 weeks are all about growing and getting better. And we've been working out individually and working out as a team, but now to actually get out there and play against another team's a lot of fun for them, right? Try and put some of the stuff in play. So getting to see how they do, and then it's not just teaching during the game and in practice, it's with film also. They're getting to show them some of the clips and say, here's where we can be better, here's where we can improve on, and here's what went well. Went really good.
Dowtin Jr. was kind of a revelation. Was that the expectation for him? Because the word on the street is, he's kind of impressing.
Yeah, he's been great with us the entire time. I mean, he really knows how to command the game. I think he had 9 assists and 0 turnovers. He gets to his spots. He creates for his teammates. He creates for himself. And then he was great on the defensive end, too. So he's been awesome with us so far.
Now, when the Raptors faced the 76ers, there was a big standout in Jeff Dowtin Jr. What did you make of his performance?
Well, I mean, veteran leadership. Sure, he's not an NBA veteran, but when you look at the roster of most summer league teams, it's guys who have not played a lot of professional basketball. And Jeff's a guy who actually had like a 30-piece against the Raptors 905, and he's seasoned 5 seasons of professional basketball. And I think composure plays a huge role in your ability to play your game in front of an entire league's worth of scouts, executives, GMs, plus peers, plus family, plus whatever else have you. So I think experience counts, and the Raptors are very fortunate to have him in the backcourt.
No, you just said it all, so now we got to hear from him.
I think I've been playing really well. I've been focusing a lot on getting my teammates involved, picking up on the defensive end, and just doing whatever I have to do to win ball games. So, like I said, I think I've been playing very well so far.
What were your expectations for yourself, knowing that you have to temper playing your game with finding a role on a team that's not necessarily going to be a starting role, so they're looking for other things. So how did you kind of manage your expectations, and what were you expecting of yourself to get noticed in this camp?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, just been playing hard. I know what I'm capable of doing on the basketball court. So I just play my game, play to the best of my abilities. And like I said, do whatever I have to do to win, whether it's, hitting an open guy on a fast break, getting a rebound, getting a steal, whatever, leads to winning basketball. That's what I have to do. So that's what I've been doing.
The Raptors are pretty connected as an organization. So did people talk about that performance you had against the 905 this season?
Not right now. I haven't. People haven't talked about it. I know that they probably, I guess, hate me for it, but it was just a joy, playing in that game. I guess playing against them. I always love playing against competition, but I guess since I'm on that side right now, we don't really talk about it as much.
You just heard from Jeff Dowtin Jr. And now we got to talk about Abu, because Abu, he's Canadian. He's played for the national team, but what do you make of him?
Well, the Sudan native is a great story if you want to dig in and find out about a human being and a person. And I think for him, this is an experience that's going to bode well for his professional career, because we don't know what the odds are of him making the NBA, but he's been invited to this camp as an opportunity to soak up, to learn, to rub shoulders with the elite at this level. And for us Canadians who've seen many guys like him come through the ranks, he was at Boise. You know, the NCAA has kind of become dominated by Canadians to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We're really high profile there. And I think the next step is more guys on different levels. And whether it's not the NBA, it's whether it's the CEBL, the NBL, or wherever have you, Europe, Australia. I think wherever he goes next, this experience is going to bode really well for him as a professional.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, he came to Canada when he was 9.5 years old, and here he is representing the country as well. So let's hear from him. You won Team Canada a gold medal in the U19 back in 2017. Tell me what that felt like for you.
It felt amazing. It felt amazing. It was crazy because we went back to Egypt, and Egypt's right by Sudan.
Yeah.
So we were in the heart of Africa, and we were competing for a championship. And it was just an unbelievable experience because we went through so much adversity with that team, and we kept on fighting, and we got it done. We got it done. So it was a lot of fun, yeah.
Hey, that's all we asked for. Now, Abu, you played in Basketball Without Borders. Just tell me what you know about the growth of the game here in Canada, but then also in Africa as well.
The growth has been instrumental. Messiah has done a great job of finding talent, evaluating them, and giving them the opportunity. And you know, Africa has a lot of great players that are just waiting for opportunities, and what he's doing is amazing, and I'm really happy, you know, to be a part of it, and obviously the next generation is going to benefit as well.
Yeah. Well, Akil, that is it from us, but you could watch the Raptors take on the Chicago Bulls Tuesday. That's 2 p.m. local time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. From myself, Savanna Hamilton, Akil, Augustine, Rob, Jake, and Luke, thank you for watching Raptors Today.